and Cat and Little Man here, your favorite ginger bibliophile and puppy duo, for a very late uh, June wrap up. Huh? What do you think, Little Man? Should we tell them about all those books? There's not a lot of them this time. Yes. Ah. Okay. Yeah. You gotta fix me. Like, oh, you had a bath, Mama. Don't worry, I'll fix that. So, we only read 10 books last month and only 3 from the TBR pile. I just was not able to focus last month. I won't get many off this month either, but that's because one of them is a chunkster. Can I grab it? Maybe. Ah! Is this super big boy? But I've read that much of it, so we're getting there. So, as always, we will start with the physical books, and then I'll tell you about all the ones that came off of Kindle Unlimited. So, I finished strong with Dean Koontz in Midnight. And we're not going to talk too much about it because I've already done a full review. So, how does he get the blankets all messed up? But it was freaking good. It's in the running for being one of my favorite Dean Koontz novels. And if y'all been following for a while, you know horror is, well, it's starting to become one of my genres, but when it comes to horror, this is my author. And he's got a cute doggy, and he can usually be trusted with the doggies, unlike Stephen King, who says he loves dogs, but then he puts them in his books, and it's usually not a happy ending. But this had very much like the Taking kind of vibes, and is atmospheric, and we got like evil megalomaniac trying to convert people to non-human and take over the world, and it was good. So, yeah. And then I tried another Clive Cussler from a different series. This one was actually co-authored with Robin Bursell. And I've read one of hers a really long time ago. I think it was a murder mystery. So that's kind of weird because this wasn't a murder mystery. At least not totally. This was, it's about the Romanov family and how they're tied to the Nazis, and the Nazis are not gone, which, pay attention to the world today, that is sadly true. But we're not going to get into that because this is Booktube and this is escape from crappy reality. But we've got the Nazis trying to come back, and they're trying to use the Romanov ransom money to refund the Fourth Reich. And of course, we cannot allow that to happen. So, yep, we get to travel all over the world trying to find the missing Fabergé eggs and all that fun stuff and stop it from happening. And we got some super rich married couple that they're actually likable. They are the stars of this series, which is the Sam and Remy Fargo Adventure series. And I love their banter. Well, fine, I guess it's date night as they're getting shot at running through like South American jungles. And like, oh, well, I guess we can go to, have our date night here. And take out these wannabe muggers and stuff. So they're pretty badass. It's a good time. And then this one, Frostborn, the Broken Mage. And they got me because the first, like, there's a prequel, and then the first 3 books are all part of like an omnibus. For when I got it was 99 cents for all 4. And it was so freaking good. It gave like Lord of the Rings vibes. But if Aragorn had run the whole thing and they'd stayed together. But instead of being like really deep and complicated and getting lost, it kind of felt like, the Hobbit level. But now our group has grown and there's some romance that should not freaking be there because I do not like the chick that our Aragorn guy has hooked up with. She's kind of trying to redeem herself. She's got a lot of trauma, but she just bugs the crap out of me and everybody else in the group. Like, yeah. Plus, I got this on sale for like $6, but there's like 15 books in the series that range from like 12 to like $20 for the paperback. So, I will not be finishing this series. It's interesting, Even on Kindle, it's like $6 a book, and I do not pay that much for a Kindle book because I am likely to lose it with the other 1,000 that are downloaded. So yeah, but I finished it. I mostly liked it. Will not be finishing the series for reasons. And then I got into some other stuff. Like I read Pulse that I found at my favorite used bookstore. It was the first in the Chess Team series by Jeremy Robinson. And it turns out the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited. So I was super excited. I read a couple in, May. Yeah, I think I read like two more in May. I read another three. And then I forget if it's eight or nine. The fourth one I didn't totally like. The fifth one ticked me off because it was Threshold, which was really good. Ragnarok, which is exactly what it sounds like. It started getting a little too sci-fi out there for my tastes. And there was Omega, where we had not just like multiple universes, but then we got into like time travel and just them just being full on stupid of, yep, hey, this guy can, like has powers where he can come back from pretty much the dead and bring anybody else back because all he has to do is like say a word and he can bring himself back. Plus, he has like healing abilities from where he injects himself with like Hydra DNA. But, instead of killing him, we're gonna save him from this other, at least sometimes good guy. Like, it's, Hercules, who is not exactly the good guy that we have been led to think he is, but he's not that I'm gonna take over the world and off everybody because I should get to be God. That they're going to save. And then they're surprised when they get double crossed by, the guy that has been double crossing them and somehow not dying from the very first freaking book. So yeah, that one just made me so angry that I quit the series. So yeah, it was fun. It was all fast paced and banter and explosions. And then it went over the top and they became so stupid that they saved the bad guy that they've been trying to fight for the last 4.5 books. Yeah. And then I read Iana, which was the sequel to Eon. I'm not going to tell you all about that because I already did a full on book review of that one where I loved it and I couldn't stand it, but I had to finish reading it because it was just good enough that it was kind of like a political train wreck of magic that was not really magic. If you like political books and like a bit of romance, then yeah, this is probably for you, especially if you like the YA, like political stuff and magic realm fantasy. But for me, it was a train wreck that I couldn't look away from. I was curious enough to read, but nope. But yep, Mulan vibes. If you want it, I will try to put a little card up somewhere in here, and you can check out that full review and see if that's for you. Was not for me. And then I read 3 more books in Shannon Mayer's Desert Cursed series, and oh my freaking, oh, I loved it. I finished that series this month, and there's 9 of them, and they start getting like a little bit mushy romancy towards the last half, so they're 4 stars for me. But I freaking love these. It started out with I found Witches Rain in January. Like, again, at my favorite used bookstore. I'm like, oh, it's a witch that has like, well, not even a witch. There's a shifter, and she has this like Red Riding Hood cloak and a little baby dragon on her shoulder and flail. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be badass, and it was. Though, if you don't like foul language, this is not for you. Especially the last book where she keeps dropping F-bombs. It goes, yeah, you should say this, little girl. But I'm not a lady, so I can say it. And yeah, but it's just, there's her. Our main character is, not Leela. Well, Leela kind of is. Leela is the little dragon. I am totally blanking on her name right now. That's going to drive me bonkers. Oh my goodness. But we have our main character, whose name I'll remember as soon as I stop recording this, I swear. And then we have the shifter that's also yeah, there's some revelations about him, about what he really is Max, and they're just basically going to fight all these different magical powers to eventually like save the world from her evil, you know, timeline and her douchebag ex that it takes way too long to get rid of him properly, but when it does, oh, it's so good. But she is just sassy as all get out, and they're constantly fighting. Yeah, we got ogres and trolls and dragons and witches and mages, and they are not the same thing. And we got lion shifters and all this other stuff. And it's just, I love all their attitude. And they have this running thing of apparently they really love Shakespeare because it's in our world, but like this basically the magic people have been separated from the rest of the world. They're like in the desert somewhere. I think it's supposed to be like Africa, but they don't know because they don't know where the heck they're at. Like, and they think Indiana Jones is a real archaeologist like hero. They don't know that it's a movie. They're like her dad has taught them that. Yep, I'll have to show you these documentaries of Indiana Jones. And he is from the old world. Like it's only recently that they have been separated. Like he used to be a marine, and then they found out that he was a lion shifter, and dropped him across the magical wall before it was like nobody can get over anymore. And they had a fight with the genies, and he was killed, and her brother was like paralyzed, and she ended up dating the douchebag who took control of their pride with the goddess. But yeah, I love their freaking attitude and all their little nods to Shakespeare and Indiana Jones, and it's like I will not give up on him. So like that part of her is kind of eh. It's still kind of a background, but it is her driving force. Like the last 3 or 4 books are, I am getting my mate back. I might have to whoop his butt, and there's better options and whatnot, but I will get him back, and we'll die together or for each other. But we're gonna keep up the attitude and fighting dragons and daddy issues and goddesses and everything with all the foul mouth sass. And I loved it. I read each book in like a day and a half, even though some of them are about 400 pages, some of them are barely over 200. It bounces around. We got to fight demons at the last book. That one was just a mind trip of we're just going with it because everybody's lying because they're all demons. But yeah, it's a good freaking series. It's by Shannon Mayer, and it's so freaking good. So hopefully one of these sounds really good to you. If that's not your thing, you're just looking for the animals, check down below. I got you. And I will see you next time. So bye. Happy reading.